back to Kruse Control. It is Tuesday, September 12th, 2023. Welcome to Kruse Control, the home of entertainment news. I am your host, as always, Brian Kruse. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Happy Tuesday. I know it's a weird day for us to be here, but hey, we're here joining you. We got lots to talk about. Well, we had lots of stuff yesterday, but it's just spilled over to today. Sabrina's not feeling too well, so unfortunately, she's not here with us today, but it's still great. We have some great people with us here, as always, on Kruse Control. I want to welcome back first, actor, writer, director, and fantastic artist. You got to see her stuff. Lexi Covill, welcome back to Kruse Control. How you doing tonight?
Hi. It's good to be back.
How's your day been? How you been, Lexi? Haven't seen you in a second. How's life?
Oh, it's been busy. I deliver so many flowers.
hey, it's a good thing, right?
Right. I gotta do something. No, we're coming up with ideas, working on stuff. So there's always something in the pipeline, right?
Yeah, we're working on a project together too, so we'll have more news about that moving forward, of course, everybody out there. But some great stuff coming forward, and I can't wait to show everybody later on because we've got a lot brewing right now. Right. But also joining us back, Lexi, I don't think you've been with Paul before, but back to Kruse Control for the very second time, actor, creator, and host of Film Vets, Paulalandixon. Welcome back to Kruse Control. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back. Had a blast last time, so... Yeah,
I'm so happy to have you back. How's life been? I haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, enjoying the strike as best as I can, despite no work happening. So just doing my own thing and trying to stay sane. So doing good.
Yeah, that's all we can do. Hey, GR in the chat. That's all we can do, of course. GR's like, I'm here, guys. Yeah, it's affecting everybody out there, and it has. I'm very interested to get your take on it too, because I haven't talked to you about everything, and we've been updating people about the strikes as they've been moving forward. But yeah, all of us are just kind of like in it for the long haul here, waiting to see how long this takes and how long our bank accounts can hold up. Really, So,
right.
It's a crazy time in the business. It really is. It really is. But thank you for being here because, even though all that's happening, we're still having fun. We're still hanging out. And of course, there's always some breaking news. First thing I want to dive right into is something that we talked about last week. Was the Spectrum and the Disney deal breaking loose and breaking out, and all of a sudden 14.7 million people lost a bunch of channels on their Charter Spectrum subscription. Now we're talking about ESPN, we're talking about Disney, Disney Junior, FX, we were talking about all these Nat Geo. Well, they finally reached a deal after a 10-day standstill, and it was back and forth about streaming and money, of course, is what it always comes down to. So if you have Charter Spectrum, a bunch of channels popped up, but you're probably like, where are some other channels? So right now, if you have them right now, you have back again. Like I said, ESPN is back. You got FX back. You got also all the ABC stations are back, but you're going to miss some Disney channels, everybody. You're not going to have, I don't know what Baby TV is, but Baby TV is not coming back if you watch that. So sorry, the Baby TV members. Disney Junior, Disney XD, Freeform, FXM, FXX, Nat Geo Wild, and Nat Geo Mundo. And they're saying they're going to end up paying Disney about $2.2 billion in 2023 when it's all said and done because of this deal and all the other subscription stuff they've been going forward. But yeah, it's a big deal. And they were also fighting for Disney Plus to actually be included in their Spectrum packages. And now that is included now, but it's only for if you have the Spectrum TV Select, you get Disney Plus with ads. Now, if you have it's a lot. Spectrum TV Select Plus, you get ESPN Plus along with Disney Plus ad base. So big thing for people out there that are big Spectrum fans. It affects a lot of people, and Disney Plus is just going to be rocking out a bunch of content for them to be able to watch it. Like Haunted Mansion's actually coming out. The Haunted Mansion's out. Disney Plus coming out now, and a lot of people have had a chance to see it. A lot of people apparently didn't see it, but it's going to be on Disney Plus on October 4th. So if you're a Spectrum person, you can check into Disney Plus now and watch Haunted Mansion. But this costs $150 million, and they made $182.3 million. That 150 is before advertising, before marketing. So this movie probably didn't do too well for them. So a lot of people can watch it on Disney Plus. They don't make all their money back, but they will make some money. It might break even when all said and done, but I highly kind of doubt it. But it opened July 28th, and it's the whole story about a story of a woman and her son who enlist a motley crew of so-called spiritual experts to help them rid their home of supernatural squatters. Big cast. You got Danny DeVito, Rosario Dawson, you got Chase W. Dillon, Daniel Levy, Jamie Lee Curtis, Jared Leto, Tiffany Haddish. There's a huge cast for this. So Lakeith Stanfield, Owen Wilson. If you watch this, if you haven't watched it, check it out. I haven't seen it. Sabrina watched it. I didn't get a chance to watch it when it was in theaters, but I hear it was pretty good. And it's a popcorn flick. I'm kind of surprised they didn't do better, but things aren't doing that well right now as it is. So I'm not that shocked. But Disney Plus, everybody, you're right. You're not shocked, are you, Lexi?
I mean, what was the competition? The one before it with Eddie Murphy? Like, I mean, it couldn't possibly be worse. So, I mean,
based on a true story, Racer X.
I mean, can we stop making movies based on fucking rides? Like, I just don't get it. Like, I guess, like, I know that Pirates was good, but I mean, you went and got Gore Verbinski. Like, you got like a good casting. I know this is you got a good casting, you got whatever, but it's like, I don't know, like, if you want to make a fucking haunted house movie, make a haunted house movie. It doesn't have to be based on a Disney ride. Like, there's such a like expectation with that, it's like, oh, it's got to be like this and it's got to be like that. But then also, like, what is the expectation? It's based on a ride. Like, what do you want?
There is no plot. Exactly. Really?
Right. Like, I mean, like, the ride kind of has a plot, but then it doesn't have a plot because it's a fucking ride. So it's like, I don't know. Like, it's like, what's next? Like, it's like, we're gonna make a ride based on a roller coaster next, or some stupid shit like that. Like, I don't know. Like, I know that Disney has
Splash Mountain falling apart.
I mean, we already got that movie. It's called Song of the South, but they just won't let us watch it. So, right?
Oh boy!
But I mean, like, I don't understand this desire to. I mean, I know you have strong theming on your rides because you're Disney, and you have strong theming, and that's the whole point of your fucking theme parks is the strong theming in your parks, right? So you're going into your parks to have these immersive theme experiences. But if you're creating these immersive theming experiences that are unique, you don't need to make a fucking movie based on it, because, like, the whole point of it was that it was a unique experience. If you're just making more shit based on your IPs, hey man, rip out the stuff you already got in your park and throw it away. I know you love doing that, and stick more IPs in. Knock it out. Like,
but
instead of
they're
trying
all
to
about that IP-ness, Alexi. They really are.
They truly are. If there is one person that's about the IP-ness, it's fucking Disney. Like, all day. All night. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't see any reason for me to pick this movie up and watch it. But I mean, I don't see
people will, though.
Of course they will. I didn't say nobody will. Like, you're asking me. I'm not the wrong person to ask about that. But kids will watch it. I think it looks definitely better than the first one. The first one looked absolutely abysmal.
It was a flop too.
Well, and this one at least has like such a strong casting in it that you're gonna go.
It's got a great cast.
I can't not watch it. I mean, it looks insane, right? Like, it's got.
We gotta check it out.
And so that's the attitude. So that's how they're gonna get you, is that they're just gonna keep throwing so many names and so much money and so much whatever at it. So you're just gonna go watch it, right? Doesn't mean.
But now it's on Disney Plus, though. I mean, Disney Plus, it's easy. You click it on, you go. You have a good time. So I think it will do better in that platform. But I see what you're saying. I see why people didn't really probably go see it. But it's just tough. People haven't been going to theaters like they used to. But Paul, what do you think? Do you think that this is something that you'll check out, or did you see it in theaters?
I didn't see it, but the thing that I kept coming back to, and I kept telling people, was, why are they releasing this in this month? It was released last month, August.
Right. July 28th.
July. It was in July. Look, why would I go see a Haunted Mansion movie when that's the time of, like, you want to go see something like that, like a horror-esque type of film during Halloween. That's right. That's like the whole point, So I had no desire to go see this at the time. That said, I'll see it for free online at home. Why not? It's easy to watch, but I had no desire to otherwise. And then I started hearing that the film was just so-so. So I don't know. I'll check it out. And, critics everybody's a critic. Everybody has an opinion about a movie, but
hence we're here.
Yeah, exactly. I don't consider myself a critic, but I do critique now and then. And I do feel like I enjoy movies a lot more than most people do. So I'm willing to give it a shot, but I think this marketing wise was a stupid fucking idea.
Well, and so when you talk about it now, like, when you talk about money, like what you just said there is exactly like, why wouldn't you think about that? Families at Halloween are not going to have a property to go see in the theater. This was a prime opportunity to cash in. It wouldn't have mattered if it had been good or not. It was a Halloween family movie that was made by Disney that would have been dropped in the theaters at Halloween, they would have went because they need to have something to take their fucking kids to at Halloween.
And I actually liked the trailer. All that stuff worked for me. I just think it was the wrong time. It just, they didn't really think about that for some reason. And that's such a vital thing for people to want to go see a movie.
How are they so bad at marketing? Like, they genuinely are.
No.
They're horrible at marketing. They probably didn't spend much on it either because, like I said, it was like a $30 million budget. And so, like, they're probably like, it wasn't, they didn't spend much money on the different movie, sorry. But they probably spent like $100 million on this probably, I'd imagine, because they spend so much money on these movies.
Well,
I'm thinking about something coming forward.
The actor budget alone.
That's insane. It's insane. So it's like, you think that they would want this to be good. Wait till like October. But the problem is they just have no idea what they're doing over there at Disney right now. Hence why there's strikes. There's so much issues happening. But also, I think they're also like, well, we have something else coming around October, around Halloween. That's a Goosebumps series. And maybe that's why they're like, we're not going to do that. Probably not. But Goosebumps series is coming to Disney Plus, everybody. and for me, I'm like, I watched it when I was a kid, like 96 to 98, I think it was. They had 4 seasons of this come out. The R.L. Stein books I read when I was a kid too. I loved them. They're like in a kid version of Halloween stories. Like this mask one, like this kid puts a mask on if you don't know what this is, and then they can't get it off. And all of a sudden his face starts turning into this. And it's like creepy and it's interesting, but it's based for kids. They've had movies come out. 2015 movie was like a pretty big one, the very first one. It still didn't do that well. But the creator and the directors from that, Nick Stroller and Rob Litterman, are actually like bringing this series Disney Plus. They're making it happen, this 10-episode series, and it's going to follow a group of high school kids. So high school kids are going to unleash supernatural forces upon their town, and they must work together regardless of their rivalries to come and save their town. And they're going to find out about their parents' secret teenage past in the making too. So yeah, Disney Plus is bringing stuff like this out constantly. It doesn't surprise me. Also, another movie that didn't surprise, or actually did surprise me in a lot of ways that it came out right now, was The Nun 2, because The Nun 2 is another one of those movies that, why don't we wait till like Halloween again? But we didn't. I don't know why we can't wait till Halloween. You have a horror movie like this, we're bringing it out in August. It makes no sense. Or early September. Like, why not? Why not wait on these guys? But it still did well. Like, honestly, for The Nun 2 coming out this time, where people haven't been going to theaters except going to see Taylor Swift, apparently that's a big thing. It made $32.6 million. And it's, that's not too bad when the budget was $38.5 million. They'll make their money back probably no problem. And it's only opening weekend. So, hey, and I watched it. I saw the first one too. I think this was better than the first one. I really think that they kind of nailed like taking the nun into different environments, not being locked in one location. That worked really well for me. You actually saw it out in the world and doing different things. So, and like scaring people and killing people in different, different ministries, but different churches, different sanctuaries, like different areas. So that kind of made it more interesting. But I'm not surprised this did well, but I think it would have done better. It's the story here. I think it would have done better at Halloween time. Like, why is all this Halloween stuff coming out of middle of summer? Like, it's not Halloween in July. It's Christmas in July, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. We got it all wrong. Racer X did pretty well, though. Did pretty well. But Paul, did you see The Nun? Are you surprised that it's out right now? And do you think it's something that people will flock to in the weeks moving forward?
Yeah, I think people are starting to get into the Halloween season, and the autumnness is coming in. And people are, this isn't July, so now we're in the months where you can release The Nun and it might be a hit. It might have been a hit even before then, but at least it came out now as opposed to July. So that's huge difference there. And I think also there's some staying power with The Nun because there's some marketability there with that. And people know from the past that, oh, I've seen the Conjuring films. I even if the Nun film was trash, which I heard it was, they're going to go see this movie. I didn't have a desire to see the movie, but I will say this. Every sequel to a bad horror film seems to be better than the original. Is that just me? It seems like that keeps happening. Like
it does.
Like Annabelle. I heard the sequel to that was better. Like, what was the one about the board? The Ouija board was better than the second one. I don't know. I keep hearing that. Yeah. So maybe the Nun 2 is great.
But in that statement though, it was better because of those particular ones, they were so fucking bad they couldn't have possibly been any worse. There was such. When you're talking the modern horror genre, when you talk like older horror movies, it was like the first ones weren't that great, but the second ones were usually like okay, but like now we're just gonna go off. Whereas I don't really feel like they're going off. I feel like they dropped the ball so bad in the first one that they're like, okay, well, we're gonna try a little harder with this one, and it's like, okay, you try a little harder, but it's not the same. It's not the same as like going over the top with the sequel or something like that, because that's what you like sometimes. You're like, fine, fuck it, we'll just go
bigger,
crazy. Because that's like, you know, Terrifier 2, they just went fucking balls off. You know, it's like, that movie's great. I loved it. Like,
I have a question about Terrifier 2. I don't know if I need to watch the first one to watch it, because
I would.
I don't hear anything about the first one. I hear everything about the second one.
I'm personally a big fan of Terrifier. I think they're both great. They're trash. Like, don't go into them with a high expectation. But like they are. They're trash, but like they're good trash. Like, there's good trash, there's bad trash, right?
It kind of reminds me of Rob Zombie's films. Is it like that?
They're stupid as fuck. But like,
really,
it's like, he's
there's no artistic value at all.
No, but that's like in a good way. Like, it's like they're gross trash. Like, it's like, I love them. They're really good because he's a really repulsive like villain, and he like never stops, and he's a mime, so he's always doing mime shit.
Yeah, see, I'm watching horror movies every night, and I'm trying to find new stuff to watch. And
go with that. Give it a shot for sure, because it's, if anything, it's over the top, and that's really what I like. I love them. I think they're fun. But one thing I did want to make a comment on, if you don't mind, with the Goosebumps thing. Why is it we're in a place right now in our lives where, when we are making now, because I know there's a push to make a lot of like anthology horror stuff. Why the fuck do we find a group of kids and follow them the fuck around? It's anthology.
It's always
horror.
Kids.
Like, when you made the what was it? The Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark movie. Then you should have had 3 scary stories to tell in the dark. It should have been an anthology horror movie. When this show was just made, this Goosebumps show, why isn't it individualized episodes from the stories of Goosebumps done again?
That's what that series was before.
Yeah, and that's what it was. Why are they like, what are we going to make a Tales from the Crypt series where we follow one dude around?
I was about to say...
Like, I mean,
I want my Tales from the Crypt reboot so bad.
It's probably coming. It has to be coming.
Zone series where it follows Gary around, and Gary keeps dealing with shit from the Twilight Zone, and it's like, that sounds like the worst show ever. Like, could you imagine? Like, I just don't understand. Like, especially with kids stuff, like this push when they make it kid oriented. Kids like anthology horror. One of our favorite shows growing up. Tell me if I'm wrong. Are You Afraid of the Dark?
I love that show. Yeah,
fucking great show. Anthology horror. Kids like anthology horror.
Goosebumps was that too, wasn't it? Goosebumps was
the original Goosebumps TV show.
Way.
And we liked the books growing up because they were anthology horror books. They were individualized stories. There was no commitment to anything. There was no like long term whatever. Like, kids like single serving stories, right? So it's like, if you could just give us a show of single serving stories, first of all, adults will watch it too. But also, like, you're doing better with kids by giving them single serving shit. By giving a like ongoing series based in the world of, but you got to follow a bunch of whatever. Stop. Just make a fucking show.
Is that
Make
what
it
this
based
is?
on it.
This is going to be following the kids through their whole. It's going to be just one big storyline for 10 episodes of these kids trying to take down this evil possessing their town. So,
right, and that's why the movie that came out with Jack Black, that was the same shit.
So it's
from the books,
same creators
coming out into the world, and it's all becoming reality, and they got to shove all of R.L. Stine's shit back in his books. That's the stupidest plot for a fucking movie I've ever heard.
It's what it is.
So it's it.
It's pretty
exactly what it is. Yeah. And I mean, like, or
I agree with you, Lexi.
You know, it's like.
I agree with you, Lexi. I like when they actually have, like, you know, the contained episodes. I think that would have been good for Goosebumps. Like, contained episodes, episodic, let's do it that way. I think that works a lot of times for certain narratives. Now, it didn't work that well for American Horror Stories for Ryan Murphy. But Ryan Murphy, it didn't work out for him. But Ryan Murphy still's continuing forward with that. And very unfortunate. But Ryan Murphy also is back in the news because that's why I talk about this very fast. Because Ryan Murphy right now, if you work for Ryan Murphy at all, if you were cast, crew, if you were a PA, a stand-in, whatever you done, he put out a statement on Friday saying, doesn't matter when you work for him, but if you were an employee of Ryan Murphy, he put a fund together because of the strikes going on. $500,000. You can apply right now today at ryanmurphyproductions.com/assist. ryanmurphy.com/assist. And you can actually put in like your information, like what production you worked on, your supervisor, what happened to you, why do you need aid right now, and then how much money you think you need right now to help you get back on your feet. Big thing, because right now Ryan Murphy, I think he needs a win, and I think this is good for him too to actually put this out and help people, because of course everyone is striking and there's so much happening in this town that we just, people need a hand right now, as we talked about, and it's not getting any better. It's only getting worse the longer this thing goes on. And I'm really happy we've had the Fran Drescher out there putting it out there and standing up for us. And Fran Drescher was reelected because of this for another 2-year term. Fran Drescher, everybody, the nanny herself, or they call her negotiations, the nanny negotiator. She's out there coming back. I think that was great when I heard that too. But she won by a landslide, everybody. I mean, then again, nobody votes in SAG-Aftra. That really bugs me, because I am very involved with this too, but nobody votes. Only 22.8% of membership actually voted in this election. 22.8% of 124,000 people. It's pretty nuts, but she won by a landslide. 23,080 votes compared to a runner-up, Maya Gilbert Dunbar. She only had 5,276 votes. So Fran really blew her out of the water in this, but I kind of expected this too, because I've talked about this before. There's been two sides for a long time: membership first, and then unite for strength. And they've been kind of battling back and forth. And as you notice, they keep saying there's a unity ballot. Like we're together. Like we're actually fighting together. It's a unity slate, they kept saying, because both sides have come together. Now there's this independent side, and that's who Maya was running under, that was saying, no, this is not right because it's still not taking your best interests forward. But it seems like it's the best scenario for us. And I think Fran's the perfect person right now fighting for us. She said, I am honored to serve my union as president for another term. These are dynamic times, and as only a member body, we will weather the storm, stand in our own principles, and make sure our major contributions to this collaborative art form shall never again be diminished, but rather exalted. I want all my members to be equal in all ways, and I will continue to fight against marginalization and discrimination within our union, from our employees and the world at large. So I'm excited about this. I'm happy Fran won. Like I said, I was skeptical at first. She was in the Unite for Strength side, and a lot of the stuff they were pushing before, I think we're going the wrong direction in the union. But when she came in, she just started doing everything right. It just seems like she's been fighting for us, and it's a great voice to have. Yeah, killing it. And Paul, you're a member of SAG-Aftra too. What do you think about this? You think this makes sense that Fran got reelected? Are you surprised? Are you like, this just is normal because what she's been doing?
Fran stepped up, man. She stepped up and just took everything almost personal because of the circumstances. And really, I was a little hesitant about her at first because we didn't know what she was going to do. And she seemed like she was making these talks and working with the AMPTP. And then suddenly, I don't know, she released the beast and everything changed. And everybody was like, oh my God, she's amazing. So I'm not surprised at all. I am surprised by the turnout, but maybe people were just expecting her to win. And they just figured, I don't need to vote. I will say the voting to strike was a big turnout. I think it was like a 90%. Yeah. So maybe that's why. I don't know. But I'm really happy about that. And another thing about Ryan Murphy, the whole thing with him, I really wish I had auditioned for a couple of different roles through Ryan Murphy's casting agency. I really wish I could have got on one of those shows to get that strike fund, because that sounds amazing.
Right.
But as far as Fran Drescher, this is incredible for her. I really am glad she's in the spotlight and just doing this. And I really feel comfortable. Not even comfortable. I feel more optimistic with her in charge.
Yeah,
and I really think we're going to get a good deal out of this. Yeah. For sure. Yeah,
I mean, we needed somebody like her for a long time to stand up and fight the AMPTP, because for years we just didn't have that. It was honestly, it always felt like just the bare minimum deal, moving on. And after years of that building up, that's where we're at. When people say oh, actors are, we talk all the time, actors are asking for too much. No, it's because we haven't ever pushed before to get a better wage. And as times are going by, it's getting harder and harder to act and to be out here and to actually have a career as a professional performer. So I'm so proud of her standing up.
The thing about that is I see this a lot online, and a lot of people fortunately do the talking for me, so I don't have to, but they're like, oh, well, all these celebrities are millionaires. And it's like, that is such a small percentage of actors in the industry. I can't even. I think it's like 2%, maybe less, of people that actually are millionaires. Or
look at Brian's millions.
My billions over here. Yep.
Yeah. Like, I've been in the industry for like 6 years working professionally. I'm not a millionaire.
Then you're a millionaire too. What are you talking about?
Oh, I am. I didn't even know.
Killing it.
Obviously.
Oh yeah. Yeah, look at my mansion with all my.
You guys all live in LA. You're clearly millionaires. I just live in Colorado. Yeah. I mean, I'm poor.
Yeah, but you have beautiful scenery, so Yeah.
That's right. I have mountains.
You're right, Paul. That's like a thing.
That's mountains and Republicans.
Oh wow!
But that's the thing, Paul. You're right.
When you leave the city, it gets very red.
Wow. It kind of the same here.
Yeah, it is true. California's the same way.
That's how it all is. When you leave the cities, it gets very red.
But I'm just excited though, Lexi, that in general that she is putting that out there, Fran. She has been saying that too. The bottom line is she's saying that the majority of the union is what they're fighting for, and then putting the statement for is huge. Like, are you surprised, Lexi, that she actually won this big?
I think everyone when she took over was skeptical. Like I remember you guys were like,
on super skeptical.
Sabrina was like, no, like she was like very much like, no, like immediately, no. and then like it's all changed very quickly, like because she's done the work, and that's the thing. It's like results are what make people vote again, right? So she's getting results and she's showing results. She hasn't dropped the ball. She hasn't, done anything to.
Thank you, Racer X.
So it's impressive, and I'm proud of her. So
I'm very proud.
I think it's so funny though, because it's like I don't want to knock her career, but I'm like the nanny and Beautician and the Beast, and I'm like,
as I just showed, she was in UHF. She was in UHF. That's a freaking great movie.
All you need is the nanny,
UHF is
all you need is the nanny.
Oh, dude,
that's it,
Mr. Shetfield. It's so good.
That's all you need.
Okay, look, she's so hot in that show. Oh my god.
She's so fired up too. I just love her now though too. I think she's the right person for the right job right now. Yeah, she really is for this time in history. Everything, because there's a lot happened. Like I said, there's a WGA strike still going on, everybody, along with Sag-Aftra, and that leads me to my next topic, because WGA has now put out this whole thing about what's happening and how we can actually get a resolve to this strike. Now, they said the WGA has suggested that the legacy studios, if they want a fair deal with writers, they have to either assert their interests within the studio alliance, because there's a whole alliance right now. That's what the AMPTP is. All the studios come together and they negotiate as one. They said they either have to get they're saying there, or they have to break away from the broken AMPTP model, which would mean what they want to do right now is negotiate with different legacy studios and make deals, because they're saying right now that the AMPTP they're not really talking to them. Of course, they had their sit down on August 11th, and the AMPTP gave them a deal, and they went and gave them a counter deal, and then on the 15th of August, nothing happened. Like, the counter deal came from WGA, and AMPTP said, take our first deal, we're not going to negotiate. So they're saying right now it's a broken system. Now, if they did do something like this, now, WGA says that our legacy studios that have agreed to a lot of the agreements they want, a lot of the AI stuff, a lot of the wage increases, the writers' rooms. There's a lot of different studios that are saying, hey, we will do this. So they're saying, well, you should all negotiate individually and break apart from this AMPTP. But at that point, then, it would kind of get like the Wild West to me. At that point, if that had happened, of course, we'd get back to work. That'd be great. But then when AFTRA was around, a long time ago now, it seems like, we had all these different contracts. We had no idea what our contract would be. We wouldn't know what our wages would be. They do backhand deals. And it makes me think that maybe, I don't want to be like negative about this, but it makes me start thinking that that could be the route that it could go. And then we wouldn't have like a good overall deal, but maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. But the AMPTP have not been helping at all. And WGA said, we will continue attempting to get the writers to get what they need, but they said that the AMPTP would like us to negotiate inwards and not outwards. Like, they want us to fight amongst ourselves. And they said they encourage us to negotiate with ourselves, but we are not going to do that today. Instead, the companies inside the AMPTP who want a fair deal with the writers take control of the AMPTP process. Well, I said it a million times. AMPTP process yourselves and decide to make a deal separately. Now, again, I don't know about this. Like, do we think that they should do this? Like, Lexi, what do you think? If you're a legacy studio, do you think you should break from the big conglomerate that's supposed to protect you and make a deal together, or should you make your own deal and get back to work?
Well, so I was going to ask you to explain this a little bit more, but you did, so you explained it the way that I was hoping you would. But also, from what I read in the article, this goes back to that this umbrella doesn't necessarily cover the streaming platforms, from what I understand.
No, it would be like a different thing, yeah.
So basically what they're saying for the writers in particular with this is that the writers are asking for like full coverage, and that this umbrella that they have right now that they're under is that it's only going to cover film and television, and that it basically is going to skirt the streaming services on them somehow. And so they're like, this is kind of nonsense, and we want to yank the background of this out. That we want to like yank this out, and so that we can, have full control over what we write, and that it doesn't matter like what we're writing for, as long as like what we're writing for, we're getting our residuals and our piece and what we're talking about. It doesn't matter if we're writing for a fucking TV show or a movie or a streaming service or a fucking web show or God knows what, as long as it falls under the moniker of the WGA, then that's when we should be getting it. And it doesn't, this whole thing over here that we're working, because it's, the thing is that so much of, not to cut you off there, but so much of our stuff that we have in existence right now, including right down to the very governing laws that exist in like the system that protects everyone and what have you, they're all wrapped up around television and film. And so streaming is so open to abuse. They're able to get away with like everything. So even right now with what's going on, they're trying to like get all of this for you guys, and the streaming services are still over here like, we could do whatever the fuck we want. And it's like, yeah, you guys still kind of can. And it's like, well, that's because like Congress isn't paying attention to that either. Like, there are laws that need to be put into place that were put into place in the 80s and the 70s and like the 90s and shit that stopped all of these like television and film things from being able to fuck people, that for years have been in place, that now people are able to get away with, like, especially like when you look at YouTube. And I know like that's not necessarily like a platform, but
Wrestling from America.
YouTube does kind of like fall under this again too, because like there are people that start to have high volume, like Mr. Beast, right? Mr. Beast falls under some of this stuff. He's high enough level now. He's got enough of a staff and he's got enough of people around him that but he doesn't have to follow any laws, right? Because he's Mr. Beast. So it's like, where does that stuff fall under? Where does that go into the laws that exist with what you guys are fighting for? So where do the protections go when you go get a job and you get hired by Mr. Beast, right?
That's the thing then too. When you break it apart like this, protections do go out the window. It becomes like the Wild West again, as opposed to like we know universally how things are supposed to work. And if this starts happening, they might have a deal. Let's say Sony wants to do a deal. Okay, we'll make a deal with Sony. Now Sony Productions will go back to work, and whatever that deal is, agree upon that. But then everybody else has still got to wait to negotiate with WGA or with Sag-Aftra. So now you might slowly get stuff going, but the contracts could differ. And like what you're saying too, it's like, who knows what we're going to fall under? Like stuff like that might change the whole entertainment industry in whole because of this. I mean, the AMPTP has been doing this alliance for a long time, and it's just to protect that everyone has one deal across the board. And honestly, Lexi, if this goes down, like, of course, like the streaming stuff won't happen right away. You still will have that stuff shut down because WGA won't go back to work with them until they cave, or maybe they will cave. Maybe some of those people are. We have no idea who's actually saying, because they're saying, oh, some want this, some agree upon that, and some agree upon this, but they're being very vague about it. So I don't know. Like for me though, it's like I think this is the wrong route. Maybe I think that we might separate ourselves and hurt ourselves more. But then again, people need to get back to work. Paul, what do you think about this? Are you thinking that this is a good way to go, or do you think that they should just wait to get one deal across the board?
Oh, definitely one deal, definitely. But I will say, wrestling might be the way to go. Just have them
it might be
in the ring and just figure it out that way.
No, it's like rollerball. All the rules and all the stuff. Yeah, everything's figured out by the ring. You just go in and you fucking fight till there's one dude left.
Oh yeah. One
shall stand and one shall fall.
There you go.
All the rules of the world are figured out in the ring.
Yeah, why not? I don't trust anything with the AMPTP. I don't. Everything they've done has been just shady to me, and I feel like whatever they come up with is in the last at least couple of months has just been crap every time.
Yeah,
and it's either been a ploy to break the negotiations or make them look bad and make the WGA and the SAG committees look bad. There hasn't been a let's sit down and figure this out really with them. It's always been these underhandedness to them. And I think that they need to learn how to negotiate and to really come to the table and say, look, here's what we're really offering. This meets your demands to a certain degree. And the negotiations are a two-way street. There's going to be things that we can't expect to get everything we want, but there has to be a give, and there doesn't seem to be any. And that's where I stand with it. And I just don't trust them at this point.
Yeah, Paul, it seems like there is no give here because like they were saying before, it's like when they sat down, it was a joke. Like they sat down August 11th, the 15th, and they're like, oh, they were just like pretty much gaslighting us to get us in the room to be like, sign a deal, because it's the best thing you're getting, as opposed to being like, let's talk about this. Okay, well, usually in a negotiation, you go back and forth and say, okay, you want this? Well, we want this. We'll take a little bit of this. You take a little bit of that. You know, you give here, we'll give there. But there's none of that happening. And we're just like pushing further and further into the year. It is now September. 131 days has been happening. That's a long time, you know.
You saw the news about. Sorry, I don't mean to rub. I just want to let you know. You saw the news about how the loss of money that Warner Brothers had was almost like
300 to 500 million.
And they're asking for like 400 million for the year, which is it's ridiculous.
Are they looking for a bailout?
No, they're going to probably start writing things off because that's what they do at Warner Brothers.
Okay.
Ever since Zaslav took over, he's always writing stuff off.
We're not looking for a government bailout over here. I'm like, we're not putting up with that shit, are we? Because I'm not fucking playing that game with fucking Warner Brothers over here. I can't think of anybody who doesn't need money.
It was like less than 50 millions.
J.K. Rowling to make a deal. That shit back if you need some, for fuck's sakes. Jesus Christ.
Barbie is the biggest movie of the year from Warner Brothers. They're making money, so
they're killing.
This is no excuse. Yeah,
there's no excuse at all. Yeah, and I think end of the day though, I think like we're saying one deal, because if you open the floodgates and you do all these different deals, it's going to get convoluted. You're going to have a lot of problems, and I think it's going to cause more drama down the line than if we just work something out right now with the alliance. I mean, time will tell what happens there because people have to get back to work, and Drew Barrymore is getting back to work. Racer X out there. You were talking about this. I want to talk about Drew Barrymore because I know Drew Barrymore is going back. She actually started back on Monday, officially back September 18th for their first show, but they started shooting on Monday. And you're saying, okay, well, it's a talk show. That seems fine, right? Well, the problem is she kind of falls in line. And let me break it down. She went down her last season before all the strikes. So she's amping back up to get back to work, and the strike's happening. And she said, well, I had to think about all my crew and stuff, so I'm going back. But you had 3 WGA members, not a lot, but 3 WGA members, very pivotal part, writing your opening monologues, doing all your jokes, all that. Now they're saying, we're just not going to use anybody. We're not going to get non-union people. We're not going to break any rules. We're just going to, improv, which again, I don't believe. I don't think that's going to happen. They're probably going to hire somebody else, or maybe she will do more running. Who knows? But the thing is, it's not right when you've had WGA members on your crew for few seasons now, and they were actually, all three of them were out picketing on Monday, first thing Monday morning out there picketing, and it got to the point where there were like members going in to go join the live audience, and like there were two people, I heard this story a lot, there were two people out there that were going in, and they had no idea what was going on, and they got handed like some signs and some pins, and they were like all of a sudden picketing, and they're like, we gotta go watch the show, and they went in and they got kicked right out. They got kicked out because they were wearing like strike signs and strike shirts and pins and stuff. So then they went and just joined the audience picketing outside, which of course it grew and grew and grew as it was going. But the thing is, like she was saying, like, you know, it's okay. I'm going to hold my own on this. But overall, I think that if you, and I get it, it's three people. There's a big crowd.
That sounds great. I'm sorry. That's fucking great.
right, Lexi? I laugh. People are calling her scab. They're calling her gross.
Great.
You know, it's just for me, this whole thing, I get we got to get back to work, but I think it's just inappropriate sauce to get out there and start going back in this way. I mean, Drew Barrymore, just wait a couple more months, push it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I just feel like you're in the middle of a strike. Support your writers. They're a big part of your show. I know it's only three people and you're going to push that, but without writers, they're the backbones of everything. So it's very unfortunate, I think. But Paul, what do you think? Do you think this makes sense? Do you think that they go back to work? Do you understand where they're coming from? Or do you think that they should have just stayed off and waited till this was all said and done?
No matter if she's in the right or not, if this doesn't go against any contracts or whatever, the optics on this are terrible. I think that in the long run, even, I mean, up to now, her legacy, her everything about her as an actress or a talk show host has just diminished overnight. Like she is just destroying her image, and it's going to be a lot of work to get it back because this just looks bad. And again, it doesn't matter if she's not doing anything wrong. There are people like, I think it was Viola Davis had a movie who, you know, recently that they said, oh, we got a pass to do this because the SAG contracts worked around. And she said, no, I'm not going to do the movie. We're going to wait till the strike's over. And that's the stuff that needs to happen, you know, in that situation. Yeah. I think Drew Barrymore has too much clout to let something like this just slide and be like, okay, fine, we'll just shoot. It doesn't matter. It really does. And unfortunately, she's going to probably regret this if she isn't already.
Yeah, I think she's going to regret it too, especially day one. All of a sudden, people are out there picketing. And what was that Racer X just said? Hey, Ryan, can you put that back up on the screen? I missed that for a second. I would be bothered by what Drew Barrymore did, but she's so pretty and charming that I would give her a pass.
You don't get a fucking pass on this girl. No,
is she your celebrity pass? Is that what she is, Racer X? I agree, Racer X. Thanks for joining the chat.
If only David Zaslav was a good-looking... you get a pass.
I know, we give him a pass, maybe. I don't know. Damn it. Lexi, what do you think, though? Do you think you give her a pass, or do you think that she will regret this, like Paul's saying, down the line?
So there are WGA writers on the staff. They are breaking the rules. The WGA is pissed. She's violating stuff. This is wrong. So, yeah, she's like way in the wrong. People are like, what are you doing here, Drew? You're not going to be too happy when her show gets canceled and she doesn't have much of a career after this, because going against the unions in Hollywood, like, that's the stupidest thing you could fucking do, especially being as established as she is. She just shot herself in the foot. Like, you're not going to have much of a talk show. Because, like, I mean, the backlash that she's receiving online is huge. Like, it's exponential. I read the article that you sent me, and then like I had a half an hour before the show, and I was just like threw something on, and I watched 3 more articles that I didn't intend to watch about this, because this is big news. This is not
it's big
little. News. I mean, I don't know what she's thinking.
She's a millionaire.
I don't know why she would do this. Exactly. She's a millionaire. So what? Yeah. Selfish, rude behavior, of course. Like, just like most of the Hollywood elites, like someone who's been in that position. I mean, she's had a hard life in that position, but also, like, she doesn't know any better. Like, you know better. If it's one thing you understand, she's always been fairly respectful in that world too. Like, it's one thing Drew Barrymore was. She's was always great. Fairly good in like the Hollywood world, fighting for people's rights and fighting for like that stuff. I was going to say,
I will say this.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just want to say, if she came out with her show and it was all about helping people through the strike and really talking about that and delving into that and not bringing up entertainment in general, like, I think that would be the way to go for her show right now. But I really don't think she's going to do that.
No, I mean, she was already she was already like reshooting like a previous episode. And so she's already, I mean, there's nothing about that, I don't think, from what I understand, but we'll see. Maybe she'll say something now that all this is moving forward. And it does help, like, it does help the viewers out there. It's good for the audience. They'll actually get that. But logistic wise, I understand, like, we're getting comments about how like they're happy they're watching. Yeah, of course. And there will be like, people will start doing this more, I think, but then WGA will picket them. Sag-Aftra will picket them. They'll get shut down probably eventually until there's a deal. It doesn't help the whole cause. And technically, she's not breaking anything, but she is breaking WGA rules because they are WGA, WGA employees. It's a WGA scripted show, so they're breaking that. They're not breaking SAG technically because hosts can still do this. Hosts are fine. But it's a whole different deal. But WGA standards, it's not good. It's not good logistic wise. And I think it will affect her down the line. I think it really will. But honestly, I think this will happen more. I think as people are testing the waters to see what happens, she'll be a big trial. If nothing really bad happens besides picketing, if it doesn't get shut down, you're right. More people will try. But then this falls in that same thing as late night talk shows, and they're not going back. What they're doing is they're doing a talk show, giving money to their crew. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, it's a different way of spinning it. And I think, again, we talk about how the millionaires donated money to SAG-Aftra, like The Rock, and like giving money back to give to the people. So I think that's the route you should go as opposed to worrying about your show. But then again, other side, audiences will probably be happy about this, but I know a lot of people are not out there as it is. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Queen Glamazona, I get that. You're probably freaking stoked, and I get that. But
I wish I could get all my shows back. Right. There's a lot of stuff I wish was playing. It's just I'm willing to wait to
get back to it.
Writers, to get people what they deserve to get paid.
Can I make a comment about unions? I didn't mean to cut you off or whatever, but I'm watching your strike stuff and what have you, and I wanted to say, like, as someone who tried to be part of the unions, because I was a makeup artist, right, and I tried for years to be part of IATSE, and the difficulties of trying to join the unions as an outsider is very difficult. Like, Hollywood is one of the most difficult industries to try to get into. It's like, how do you get into Hollywood? Well, you got to work on a Hollywood film for so many hours to get the hours to get the union hours, right? And then it's like, well, how do you get the union hours? Well, you got to be in the union to work on the union film. So it's like, it's a whole contradiction, right? Like, it's this whole entire thing and all this kind of stuff. And so you spend like a fortune, like it was like $1,000 for me to apply for IATSE for like my makeup stuff and all that kind of stuff. And for each individual like IATSE throughout the country, there's like that application and all that kind of stuff. And so the process of getting into it, but by doing that and by going through that, I was in a place where I was like, once I get into this union, I'm secure, right? I know that once I'm here, I'm protected, and I know I'm secure, and I know that Hollywood has some of the best and most secure unions out there, right? And then I sit here and I hear that the same effects union never did anything for the VFX people, the visual
never did.
People. And so the VFX people have no protections in this industry for years. And I want to say that I grew up loving VFX and saying, like, I support VFX, and I spent my whole life being chastised for it because so many people who are older in the industry are so against modernization in so many things. Like, oh, it's got to be done the old way. Oh, the artistry behind it. And it's like, I respect artistry, obviously. Stop motion is beautiful, and I love stop motion. It's also very time consuming. There's a lot of things that a computer can do to help you and aid you. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to understand that technology can help you and aid you in certain ways, but you can also abuse technology and have it, work against you. And so there was a point there where CG was not good, and there was a point where CG, it has to grow, right? So, but you have to allow things to grow and change and develop. And so these VFX people who got fucked over because all these angry curmudgeon old fucking effects guys got in the union, got their position, held their position, and then said fuck you to those people and never got them a chance to get the growth. That's disgusting.
It sucks.
You old fucking effects people should have fought for those people to have their positions in that union.
Yeah, and then for years, Lexi, they were just like working without a contract. They've been trying for a decade, actually, to get into the union, to get an IATSE.
Why was nobody standing there to help those people? Why are we sitting here right now watching this stuff? And I think the thing is that you sit here as an outsider and you look at the film union, and you've always thought the film union was so stable and such a good place to go. And I always thought, if I could just get there, there. And then you look at it and you're like, you guys are fucked. You guys are sitting here questioning your own stability. You're questioning your own livelihoods. You're questioning your own whatever. And you really have to ask yourself at this point, if the film unions are this unstable, how fucked are we as a country? Because the film unions used to be one of the most stable unions in the country at one point in time. And now they're not. And we have no unions in this country that are stable in any field, all across the country. I'm proud of UPS just got
UPS had a big one.
They
got a
killed it. I'm so proud of them for finally getting that. But like, that's a small victory in a large country of thousands of people that are suffering. Like, I am suffering every day with my job. Every one of us is suffering out here, and we all need victories in the same way that you guys need a victory with the WGA and stuff and all this. We need to stop fucking people over. And I know I keep going back to capitalism, but it's like, when you commodify art, right, the discussion no longer becomes the value of the art itself. So the art's not relevant anymore, right? Because the idea is the money. And I think when the money becomes the discussion, I think at that point you kind of become relevant, don't you? Because the AI can do what you can do, because at the end of the day, it's all about money. It's not about art. Am I correct?
Well, that's what it's come down to these days. And that's why AI is being pushed more and more. And also it's easier for them, but it's not there though, Lexi, but that's why we're doing this, because we're worried about what's going to happen in 3 years from now time, where it's going to be, will we have jobs? Again, the scanning is scary in Hollywood. I've been scanned. I've said that multiple times. I got scanned for Ant-Man 3. I didn't know what was happening, but they scanned me multiple times. And so we don't know what they're going to do with that. I would hope. I hope that would not be used to put me in the background someplace else or do something else with me. But you never know. You just never know. And it's like, as that technology gets better and they find ways to cut us out, it becomes all about the buck and less about the art. And that sucks, because we give up a lot for the art.
Humans need art, and we need storytelling in the same way that we need food, air, and water. It is something that we have done for our entire lives. We painted on cave walls. We stood around campfires and told stories. This is not something we commodify. And I hope people understand that, even though we're sitting here and having this discussion, that capitalism is destroying a part of our human existence by making it this. And that by taking the art out of it and making it what it is now, that the human experience has been removed from it, and that it's not something that we should be commodifying. It's something that should be a human experience that we all experience together and enjoy. But that's
I just worry, Lexi, about the film industry in general. And people's jobs and livelihoods, of course. I worry about it all. And
socialism will fix that. Socialism will fix everything. Universal basic income, healthcare.
Well, that's a whole different topic right there. Let's see. But honestly, I think that with this, WGA is trying to get their deal. Drew Barrymore is trying to get her, her show going again, and people want content, and hopefully that the money doesn't wreck the art and we come back to getting back to work and making great things. Like maybe Gen V will be, because I'm hoping Gen V will be good. But Gen V is coming out, everybody. And I want to talk about this because I love myself. The boys are, that sounds really bad. I love The Boys, the TV show, everybody. I love The Boys, the TV show.
I love myself, The Boys, so that's okay.
Anyway, because last time Paul was, we were talking about The Boys, and I saw this trailer. Let's talk about Gen V. But Gen V is the spinoff of The Boys. It's actually the second spinoff. Of course, Diabolical came out before, but now we're getting this, and it's like, if this does well, they're saying actually the Amazon executive Vernon Sanders said if this does well, they got a whole sleuth of or a plethora, I should say, of other spinoffs down the pipeline. So they want to keep this Boys franchise going forward and create a lot more stuff besides the main storyline for the main show, which could be good, could be bad. We've talked about this a lot of times about, overdoing IPs, but we'll talk about that. But then what's this about? It's set at America's only college exclusively for young adult superheroes, run by Vought International. And Gen V is a R-rated series that explores the lives of hormonal, competitive soups as they put their physical, sexual, and moral boundaries to test, competing for the best contracts in the best cities. And they're kind of calling it like a college show mixed with a part Hunger Games type deal, with all the heart, satire, and the raunchiness of The Boys. They have 8 episodes, just like The Boys itself, coming out September 29th. But I saw this and I was like, this sounds pretty freaking cool, and I hope it's going to be good. The trailer is very gory, and I want us all to watch it here together, then we'll react to it. But here's the new trailer for Gen V. Let's watch it.
Woo.
I know there must be many thoughts going through your mind right now. Is this the right place for me? Do I belong here? But let me assure you that we see something in you. Something you may not even see yourself, even if you do have X-ray vision.
Congratulations, and welcome to Godolphin University.
You know when Golden Boy flames on, his clothes burn off?
You're making me hot just a little bit.
It's like a big, fiery sea cucumber.
Golden Boy, Jordan, Andre, they're going all the way. They could save thousands of people.
I was coming up with your superhero name. Want to hear it?
It's totally true.
That's terrible.
Okay, Coagula.
Even worse.
Oh!
Blood bending.
I'm not going back to the fucking woods! There's some weird shit going on.
Who else have you told?
Nobody.
Don't say another word about this.
What's going on?
It's lights out.
There are evil people at this school.
This is way bigger than us. We need to make this right. This is your shot at real power.
Remember, no tiny action hero shit.
Get it. Got it. Good.
What's with Muppets?
Digging for the truth is a rush.
This is just a tiny bit fucked, isn't it?
Don't answer that, it's fucking rhetorical.
It's just a matter of time before they find out about everything else we're doing.
If the woods is exposed, we all have a big, potentially fatal problem.
It's lights out.
You're fucked up. I'm fucked up. The one thing that is really apparent now is that we are all fucked up.
It's lights out.
We are all fucked up.
Oh, that's coming out soon.
I know, September 29th, before you know it.
Oh, wow.
8 episodes. Yeah.
They're releasing all at the same time?
No, I think they are actually. Yeah, I think they actually are. Yeah. Because that's their whole thing at Amazon. I'm excited about it, Paul. I'm excited about it. Are you excited about this? Do you think this is gonna be good?
Oh, yeah. I think first of all, I want to point out, if you didn't know, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger's son playing the fire dude in it. Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. It's like his first role, I think, or like for a breakout role. But this looks fun. Like, I am a big fan of The Boys. I'm a big fan of teen drama done well, and combining the two in something is really intriguing to me. Especially The Boys is so raunchy. Like, I read the books, I read the comics when I was younger, when I probably shouldn't have been, and I've been a fan of The Boys ever since. And the show it's blown past the comics. It's even better, which is hard to believe. But it's really fascinating that they're kind of taking this concept that is touched upon in the comics and making it its own thing in the show, into a show, and still being in the world of like Homelander and The Boys and all this. It's just exciting. I really want more of The Boys. I don't care what it is, and I don't want to oversaturate the market or whatever with The Boys, but I want more. It's just not enough to have The Boys come out every couple of years. I think it's smart to have just something else in between to satiate us. I'm really excited.
We need it. We totally need it. And I just looked it up again. So the first 3 episodes are coming up the 29th, and then they're going to do every Friday after that. So that's what it is. So the first 3. So you get they did that. I think that last time too, actually. They dropped 3 and then they kind of did the, every week after that. But that's still a lot they're going to drop at once that you can check out and kind of dive into. But I mean, the goriness, the blankets, this is kind of great because it's, again, we're talking about like what we were talking about, a kids show where they're all together working together, like the Goosebumps show, but this is like even better because it's gory, it's adult, it looks fun. There's a lot of comedy aspects. I know Racer X said that in the comments, like, is this a comedy? Yeah, there's gonna always be a lot of comedy. If you haven't watched The Boys, there's definitely comedy mixed with a lot of dark themes and diabolical stuff because it's just great. And I love like the ear thing. I was like, oh my God, like it kind of reminded me of the whole Ant-Man meme that was going around from The Boys last season where people were like, Paul Rudd, why didn't you kill Thanos like they did in The Boys? And he's like, gross, I'm not doing that. But if you didn't see that, Lexi, he went up the guy's butt and blew him up. So
yeah, The Boys.
You're like, yeah,
actually, well, it wasn't the butt, it was the other thing.
It was there was something going on there.
Yeah,
it was the front, not the back.
Lexi, what do you think about this trailer? You gonna watch this? Yeah. What?
Was it at the orgy that he did it?
Yep. I think it was. Yeah. It was early on. It was like the first or
second. At the beginning, he decided it would be a fun idea to go into the man's.
Tickle his innards, And
he sneezed because he was doing coke.
Yeah,
that's right. I remember that.
It's quite something. Lexi, are you all about this? You like this trailer?
It looks like Xavier's school of fucked uppery. Like, I mean, that's really what The Boys is. The Boys is a parody, essentially, of like X-Men and Superman.
I didn't even think about that. This is like an X-Men parody. I never even thought about that.
So that's entirely what it is. It's the Xavier's University except on crack. So the Boys universe looks absolutely horrendous to live in as a normal person. Like it just looks like looks like the Metalocalypse universe too. It's like I wouldn't want to live in that one or this one. Like there's just a terrible metal band that if you go watch, it's going to drop a thing on you and kill you. Or this one where the superheroes will basically murder you every 5 minutes. So
you look at Homelander the wrong way,
Yeah. Well, I mean, the poor guy was like hugging his girlfriend on the street and. That's how the whole show starts. His girlfriend explodes because dude ran into her. So
and didn't even apologize. He's just like, I'm late. I think it's really touching on this idea of what it really would. I mean, maybe not to this extent, but superheroes in the real world, if they were a marketing tool, this is what it would be like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's true.
Well, and if they were real, they'd be very damaging. Like real superheroes would be very physically damaging to the world. Like they would pop the atmosphere with their movement. I
don't understand why people live in these cities where all the superheroes get out.
Sure. Why would you stay there? You're right. Why would you stay there when you see all this crazy shit happening all the time?
I've lived in Gotham City my entire life. Like the Joker's going to come to your place and kill your family. Get out.
Right.
Maybe it's time to move.
And also the Penguin, and also Two-Face, and also Zeus has a bar, and also there's Harley Quinn, and also like there's the alligator dude.
There's also Falcone out there. Just regular monsters.
And also like I'm just like, shall I keep listing? I'm like. Calendar Man might decide to just start popping up somewhere. I'm like, there's about 50 other people who just are just half-wits who just copy people.
It's like the worst place to live, and you're just like, oh, I got my roots here.
Yeah.
So does Poison Ivy.
Third generation.
so does Poison Ivy. Yes.
Right. I'm like, it's too much. I'm like. Yeah. And when you deal with the fact that like half of them are genetically modified and half of them are not, when you have the genetically modified ones, I'm like, what do you even do with that? Like you're just fucked. You're fucked in that world. So it's like, it's such a depressing. You're right. It's. I think it's a very realistic one. That one, and what's the one? Senses. I think it was.
Sense8?
I never saw it.
Yeah, Sense8.
Sense8. Yeah.
I think that one's pretty realistic too.
I heard that was good. Yeah.
I mean, the comic was. I never saw the show, but the comic was excellent. And I know that it has the guy. Who's in all of those Blomkamp films. He was the guy from District 9.
Sharp. I can never pronounce it.
Yeah, I can't say it's like Pablo Sharp.
Don't ask me. You know, I butcher names left and right.
So like that. Yeah.
Sharpie.
So I know I think he's like the main guy in it. And I hear it's one of his best roles. So like he's really good in it.
I was going to say protects that place a little better.
Yeah, I was gonna say at least he got Superman. You know that guy can fuck somebody, as opposed to like Batman.
Yeah, Batman's across the city. He ain't coming anytime soon. No.
You got Superman. You got Martian Manhunter. I'm like, at least you got two that are like gonna not fuck you up quite so bad.
Have y'all seen Invincible on Amazon?
Yeah,
I would highly recommend that.
I was gonna say I highly recommend that. I tell anybody who watches The Boys, I'm like, you gotta watch Invincible too, because I'm like, it's right on the same level.
I'm reading the comic now, and it's.
I'd almost say it's darker than The Boys in a lot of.
Is that a series?
In a way,
yeah.
It's
really hard to watch a superhero who can't get his powers together and breaks his body all the time. It's really hard to watch.
It's like
that sounds great. I'll check that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the equivalent of that, but you imagine somebody who's just like every other episode they get just beaten to a pulp.
Like imagine having the ability to fly and superpowers, but then you also haven't figured out how to land yet, and then you break your own legs.
Oh boy!
It's like kind of shit like
so that. You're not indestructible.
You are, but you aren't. You haven't figured it out. Like
all your school friends are used as puppets to explode whenever It's great,
right?
This is kind of like Gen V then a little bit. This show too, right?
Yeah,
kind of.
In some ways, yeah. I think it's more of it focuses in on more of Mark, the main character, and his family dynamic. In his life, as opposed to multiple people.
It's about an abusive dad, for sure.
Oh God! Oh,
if you have dad issues, it's for you. Like,
wait till the end of the first episode, everything changes. At first you watch the first episode, and you're like, oh, this is pretty standard stuff, right? I mean, superhero. End of the first episode, you're like, this is not standard at all.
and then by the end of the whole season, the hard twist that it gives you, you're just gonna be like, whoa.
Okay, I'm gonna put this on my list to watch. I mean, it sounds great. Just like it sounds like fun. Just like this Gen V, because I thought this was interesting. You said the whole mutants thing. I'm like, yeah, it really kind of is like Professor X, but the gory version, and it's making it like they're saying Hunger Games mixed with the college thing. It's kind of a cool, different take on it, and competing for a role, like to get a job as a superhero on a team or a sponsorship. It changes the whole dynamic, and it really makes us like competitiveness to be the best superhero, which is kind of cool. And I'm interested to see what all the powers are. Some of those in the trailer look really cool. Yeah. The blood stuff was interesting. The guy who's kind of like a Human Torch. That's what it's called.
I feel like the superhero market is so saturated, and we talk about how the superhero market is so saturated. And I know, like, I had a friend who was really into comics, and I'm aware of a lot of third-party superhero stuff out there that isn't DC, that isn't Marvel, that is unique and interesting, like things from Image and things from all kinds of like weird shit like that. So there's a lot of potential for third-party superhero shit that is very dark, very heavy, very interesting, and I'm really happy to see Amazon as being the people that are picking it up. The Boys.
And Seth Rogen, which is crazy. You know that Seth Rogen's executive producer.
Yeah. Seth Rogen, he also produces Invincible. So
Invincible is like, but I mean, I think like
that's funny.
I think that they are going to pick up more stuff. Like I feel like Amazon's in the place where they're like, we don't have DC, we don't have Marvel. Let's dig in the bin for superhero shit that we don't have. And what you're going to end up with is that wicked weird shit, and I love it because like that's the stuff that I'd way rather watch than any of the Marvel or DC shit.
I would say if they do keep this sort of thing going with the ball rolling on these different comic books that are really out there, I hope they go with like Warren Ellis's like Transmetropolitan. Or
yes, Transmet. I've been craving it.
Yeah,
God, there's nothing I want more than a Transmet movie, and I know that they wanted. What's his face? Patrick Stewart. He wanted to play. Him
he wanted to play Jeremiah. Spider.
Yeah, he wanted to play Spider, and I was like, God, I can't think of him playing that, but also like I'm not going to fight him on it if he wants it.
If he did it today, I'd still be like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, like Patrick Stewart, go for it. I'm like, please.
Patrick Stewart can always have a job.
I think Amazon could really do Transmet well. I think they would give it the freedom that it needs to be the series that it needs to be. And I think that in the culture that we exist in today, Transmet would be really important. I think it could really be a cultural phenomenon.
I gotta start taking notes on these series because I haven't heard that either. So that sounds pretty awesome to me. But I mean, like, yeah, if you have people that are that interested, like you're saying, Patrick Stewart, you know that there's a fan base out there and there's actors that are wanting to be involved with this. Like, why not make this? And
he's been
really,
asking
Amazon's
for
going
over 10
route.
years. Like over 10 years, he's been asking to do Transmet. He's
like, guys, come on.
I was like, when Patrick Stewart asked to do Transmet, why didn't you let him? Like, why?
It might be too late due to his age, unfortunately.
Especially since he was asking right at the same time that they put out V for Vendetta. And they could have cashed
That's a long time ago.
Right at the same time. Like, that would have been a perfect, like, correlation, like, one right after the other. So
I'm trying to figure out who isn't up.
Yeah, he is.
Who isn't in the new Deadpool movie?
Right.
I know.
Everybody's rumored to be in Deadpool 3.
I hear someone's in that movie every 5 minutes, and I'm like,
I heard Harry Potter's in the movie. I don't know how that
came out yesterday. Harry Potter. They're saying he's gonna be Wolverine. I mean, I don't know. They've been fan casting him as Wolverine for years. But I mean, here we got Hugh Jackman. I don't really know if I believe that. You know, the rumors go crazy in Marvel all the time. And because of that, we got to talk about something else. That's a Fantastic Four. Let's talk about some more rumors. And that leads me to our featured story of the night. Come on. Woo! All right, everybody. You want to talk about rumors? Let's get into some rumors stuff. I want to talk about the Fantastic Four and Jake Gyllenhaal himself. Apparently up for Mr. Fantastic. That's right, Reed Richards. Now, this came across the board, and I was like, I'm not sure about this because, of course, he was already Mysterio. We know that. Mysterio and Far From Home. And Marvel doesn't usually do this. Of course, we've had some kind of weird stuff with Sony and Marvel and their different separations because of rights and all that before. But now, I mean, such a big role like this, I kind of highly doubt Marvel would do this. But the rumor is, going around, insiders are saying that after, Adam Driver was apparently offered it, and then, Matt Smith was offered the role, and apparently it said Matt Smith didn't like the script, and they were going to do a rewrite, but then they went to Jake Gyllenhaal, and apparently he liked it, and they're going to bring him in now to be Reed Richards. But these rumors are going all over the place, and yeah, I like Jake. I think he's a great actor. I think he does fantastic in a lot of his some of his roles where it's like was it Night Watcher or whatever that was
freaking
great. Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler. That's a Nightcrawler. Like he was great as Nightcrawler.
So good. That movie's excellent.
Yeah, so, he should have got nominated.
Yeah, so good. Like I love him as an actor. You can see like how he can go there, and he can play this part great.
Problem.
But no, but it's like the problem is it's like really you already cast him as Mysterio. If you want him as Mysterio, keep him there. That was only 6 years ago, That was only 6 years ago. It's not that far away. And then, they had him briefly in the last Spider-Man movie too, No Way Home, just briefly a little bit of him. So is this just like nonsense? People are just grasping at straws. What we got going on? What do you think, Paul? Do you think that Reed Richards be played by Jake Gyllenhaal?
I'm ready to pull my hair out. Like every day it feels like, or maybe every week, it's like, oh, guess who's in the Fantastic Four? I just want them to cast people at this point. I don't care anymore. If it's Jake Gyllenhaal, if it's fucking Tom Holland, I don't care. Just cast somebody. But if I'm going, honestly, I don't think they should cast Jake Gyllenhaal because he's already Mysterio. Like you said, he's got a character in this universe. It's going to be far too confusing unless they do a complete reboot of the entire MCU. It's going to be too confusing for him to be a different character in this universe. That said, I don't think there's anything I wouldn't cast Jake Gyllenhaal in. He's an amazing actor. Like you said, Nightcrawler, he should have been nominated or won an Academy Award for that. He's phenomenal in everything he does. Adam Driver. We had Adam Driver, which I was excited about, but that fell through. I think he would have been perfect, but
he's such a good casting for Reed Richards. I don't know why they wouldn't go with that.
I feel like it was
We've had a big slew of people here.
Money. Yeah, you see,
I think
make them all
Doctor Who. Doctor Who's the best casting. What's his face?
Matt Smith. That's what they were saying last.
That's really who they should have went with. I think he's the best casting for it. He looks the most like him from the comics. He's got the best body type for it. I think he's the most shy and kind of like.
I think he would have pulled it off very well.
Yeah, I think with Driver's a little too hard. Like he's got that like harshness to him. You know what I mean? Like I think he's a great actor. I think he could have done it. So Driver would have been my first choice after Doctor Who. I can't think of the actor's name.
Matt Smith,
Matt Smith. Matt Smith's my first choice, honestly. Like, I think Matt Smith is the best choice for that, 100%. Especially if you go and you read when they did, the new ones, or the ones they did in like the 2010s. That was like a good update there when they first
Something
introduced.
that a lot of
Marvel
people get wrong.
The
thing that people get wrong about Reed Richards is the way they cast him is like this lead superhero type.
He's not
that.
He's not at all. He's barely the leader of the Fantastic Four, and the Fantastic Four have to beat him into being the leader. They're like, guys, we need you. Like, we need you to do this. And he's like, I just want to be a scientist and sit in a fucking corner.
Stop sciencing and pay attention to your family who's devolving. He's
which they played into.
Yeah.
In the last movies, they played into a lot.
He's intriguing in that part because it's like, and he's usually pretty like sweet too. Like, he's ignorant. It's
if you watch him in House of the Dragon, he can do like terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. He's an asshole. Like, I mean, he's a badass. He's a great. His power is insane. I mean, he's got like one of the most insane powers in the Marvel universe. Like, his power can go endlessly. Like, I guess his stretch can go forever. Like, because they've tested him and like they've said he's essentially like got a black hole inside of him. Like that's where food goes or something like that. Like, he metabolizes like a plant.
What?
Yeah, because they said like, how does he eat? How does he metabolize food? I read a whole thing of like the whole run of what was it, Ultimate Fantastic Four. I read that run, and so like they explained like how they all work, and how he's fascinating how he works like as a hero and stuff. And I'm like, he's interesting, and there's a whole way to go about him that could be a really fantastic film. But I don't think you do Fantastic Four as a movie. I think that's the one thing where they keep failing is if you want a Fantastic Four movie, if you really want a Fantastic Four movie, you make a whole TV series. You make like about 2 seasons, and then you get a movie. Because I think that Fantastic Four is, fantastic science. Like, that's the way it really is. It's not superheroing. It's science first with exploration, and then some villainy comes in. And that's where you get like Human Torch and like the Thing. They're like bodyguard types. Whereas like the other two are like doing more of like the research type, and they're more like, you get what I'm saying? Like, there's a dynamic to this that you have a team that works on their own. They're a research team. They're not superheroes. So they're just a research team that have superpowers. Treat it like that. Make a show out of it. That's your show. Don't make a movie out of it. Don't make a whole thing out of it. If you really want to make the origin film to lead up to the show,
they said they're not going to do an origin film though. That's what they said. They're not going to do an origin film. That's supposed to be a period piece. They're talking about it. They're talking about being in the 70s, a period piece, and the Disney. And the
I think if you're going to do a period piece with the Fantastic Four, 60s, not 70s.
That's what they were talking about doing.
Was it? I thought it was 70s, 60s. Okay,
50s or 60s, like 100%.
That would be cool.
I think they said the sixth charter. There was a line in Multiverse of Madness when John Krasinski shows up as Reed, where Doctor Strange he says, "Didn't you used to charter in the 60s?" So 60s is, I would imagine, where they're going to do this movie in, which is smart. But honestly, at this point, I feel I'm not as excited as I should be for this movie because the MCU is kind of all over the place in the last few years. And I just want to see if they can bring it back to what it was and really delve into the characters. Fantastic Four would be a perfect place to do that. For many of the reasons you just said was, they are not superheroes. They are scientists with superpowers. Play on that, really delve into that and the family dynamics. And that's your gold right there. Yeah. That's, if you're Marvel, that's what you should do.
They are the first family.
And
you gotta do them right.
They're working so hard on TV shows. This is a perfect example of a TV show. And Fantastic Four is a wonderful family property. Like, this is an example of something that you have where they keep taking these adult-based superheroes and then watering them down for people, so you don't get nobody gets what they want. Like, nobody's getting the hero that they want, and then you're just like, great, so nobody wins. But then they take something like this and they try to make it too adult, or they try to make it too whatever, and it's like, this needs to be an everybody. this needs to be a family film. This needs to be a family-oriented object. It's a family story.
It is a family story.
Why are we pushing away from that? Why are we not going that young? Make them younger. Like, I think the thing that made the Ultimate Fantastic Four good was that they were so young. You know what I mean? Like
they tried that before the
they were like in the
Fantastic
early
Four, the
20s.
last one didn't work out too well either.
I will say though that the casting was the best thing about that movie.
It was great. You're right. You're right. The casting was fantastic for that, but didn't hit again. Yeah, and like, you know, they are, like Racer X said, they are all different people, different personalities, and we're saying they are like a family. Like, they should really do this one right. The thing is, Lexi, they are apparently going to start pushing away from the TV model, the Disney Plus model. That's what Bob Iger's been saying, that we're doing a little bit less of that. So yeah, and focus more on movies.
That's because they went and made a bunch of TV shows on shit they didn't need to make TV shows on.
Yeah.
And they focused on the wrong side of TV. There was all kinds of TV show properties that they could have made that would have been excellent, and they failed. And on the other side of that coin, they had a wonderful set of TV shows that they started out with, because like the first season of Netflix Daredevil was excellent. And I don't like Daredevil. I fucking hate Daredevil. That first season of Daredevil on Netflix was good. It was good. It was the first time I went, wow, I like this character. Now, the second season was awful. It fell apart really hard after that. But like that first season killed it. The first season of what was the Jane whatever one?
Fantastic.
Well, see, I will say this: those were still Netflix properties. I wouldn't say that the MCU, because now they're rebooting Daredevil to be.
But they still took minor characters. What was the one? Luke Cage. Luke Cage was so good. That first season of Luke Cage was so good. Like they had so many good seasons, and I didn't like Punisher, what they did with the character, but the action sequences in Punisher killed it. So it was like, I want this side of Punisher, but take all the story out and redo the story. I'm like, give me all the action sequences and stuff, but like the story, I need you to redo. Because it's
I liked WandaVision and I liked Loki.
Right.
Yeah, I like those both too.
The rest kind of went downhill from there.
I just the Disney stuff was too light, and then like the Netflix stuff has really strong beginnings and then falls apart. And so it's like you needed a middle ground with both of these.
Well, that's what I'm hoping, Lex, they learn from the Netflix stuff with the new Daredevil Reborn and make that a little bit more gritty and kind of learn from that, but put the Marvel twist and make it good. I mean, I hope the Echo series
fucking gritty. I don't think they have the capacity for gritty. I haven't seen
the Echo series is not doing well. Apparently,
stuff like their Star Wars stuff did not get grit in it. They don't know how.
I'm looking forward to the new season of Daredevil.
Fett TV show. That Boba Fett TV show. How the hell did you not make that gritty? I will say, you got Robert Rodriguez to make a Boba Fett TV show. That should have been so fucking violent and crazy. That should have been insane.
Right. Yeah,
and it was such crap. You're like, my God.
Yeah.
I will say the Werewolf by Night.
The Werewolf by Night. That was great.
That was a great gritty. Like it was just that middle ground you're looking for. Check out Werewolf by Night if you haven't. It's really great. And it has that dark element, but it's still that fun Marvel stuff, and it's not too over the top with it. So I would recommend that.
Hawk and Dove, did that one ever get done? Hawk and Dove?
They had no. Oh, I'm thinking of Cloak and Dagger. Are you thinking of Cloak and Dagger?
No, they were supposed to make Hawk and Dove. Oh, okay. Never mind. I thought they were supposed to make Hawk and Dove.
That was a spinoff of Teen Titans, right?
Yeah, and that's definitely not going to be any Titans. That's going to happen because Titans barely made it onto TV for the end of it.
They were gay. They were gay superheroes. That's why I was
rebooting.
Like, did that get made or not? Because I was looking forward to that.
Hell yeah.
I don't think it. Yeah, I don't think it did, Lexi. I think that got the wayside. A lot of things did now since Game's gone in.
Right.
Moon Knight was great. I love that show actually.
I
enjoyed it.
Nope. I'm quacking.
Oscar Isaac, you're quacking.
Quack. You quack.
Oscar Isaac was great, but that's still Fantastic Four. They got to do something good with it. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal, great casting, I think. But then again, Mysterio, find somebody else. Find somebody. Okay. I really don't think this is real.
Mysterio,
I think Matt Smith,
been played by
Adam Driver.
Everybody knows he should have been played by
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell.
He was supposed to.
100%. It was supposed to have been Bruce Campbell. It was built for Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell was built and designed for that role. It should have been Bruce Campbell. And everybody knows Mysterio. But Mysterio is an old special effects guy. You know what I'm saying?
But they changed his whole backstory. They changed his whole backstory.
Garbage.
Multiverse, but not multiverse.
Throw it in the trash.
Jake Gyllenhaal's good though.
No, you know what? You want to be Richards? Let's throw out that Mysterio that he played, and let's bring in the proper Mysterio, Bruce Campbell. And let's
You never know with the multiverse.
Yeah, let's do it right.
Bruce Campbell's already got an MC role as Pizza Papa.
That's true. That's true. You can't take that away from him, Lexi. You can't take it
away.
What if that's his special effects artist? That's
he's hiding in plain sight.
He's hiding, and he's like, I was Mysterio the whole time.
I tricked you.
That was the idea Sam Raimi had for him appearing in all of the Spider-Man films. Was in Spider-Man 4, it was going to be revealed Bruce Campbell played Mysterio in all the other movies, and it was building up to
awesome.
That.
So good.
I know.
It'd have been so great.
But he's built for that character. Because if you look at old Mysterio pictures, like the old comic Mysterio, he looks like fucking Bruce Campbell with the gray hair. I'm like, the character was built for him. I'm like, why? Why did this not happen? That was the most disappointing thing ever.
No, the thing is going to be CGI. I guarantee that.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of CGI in this. There's going to have to be. Look at Multiverse of Madness, where they had for Reed Richards for a little bit of time. That has to be. How do you make someone stretch? How do you do the Human Torch stuff? You're going to have a lot of CGI, but
I really hope they do some practical effects. Yeah,
I hope they do too. I think it goes a long way. They've been doing that in the Deadpool 3. It really helps a lot. Like, if you can do it, if you can't, I get it. I mean, Christopher Nolan always said that. I know Lexi loves Christopher Nolan, but he prides himself on actually trying to use practical effects all the time. And it really does. Agree. It's impressive. It's very impressive. And I don't think that this is going to be on Reed Richards, but you never know. Fantastic Four is coming, everybody, but I don't know if this is a casting. We'll see. But anyways, everybody, thank you so much.
This movie, is Christopher Nolan going to do the Fantastic Four?
No. It's not going to be. It's not going to be. No. It's Shagman, who directed WandaVision, is actually doing it. Shagman, who used to be like a camera guy on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, then moved up. Now he's doing all this stuff for Marvel. Pretty crazy. It's awesome when you hear that. but we'll see what happens, Lexi.
Danny DeVito's Reed Richards. Yeah, you heard it here.
I love it.
Sold right now. Anyways, everybody, thank you so much for being here. We got to get going way over. Thank you so much for being here tonight on Kruse Control. As always, happy Tuesday. Happy 106, episode 106. Crazy how time flies. Paulalandixon, welcome back, Paul. Thank you so much for being here tonight on Kruse Control. Appreciate talking to you. It's been too long. It was just fun. It's just fun chatting. So thanks for bringing everything. And everybody check out Film Vets. You got to love this show. It's awesome. He's got some great takes. They're doing trailer reactions, do a bunch of stuff. You got to check them out because, hey, friend of the show right here, Paulalandixon. Come on. Lexi, thank you so much as always for being here. Thanks for filling in very last minute. I know it's a crazy time right now. Appreciate you as always. Love having you on the show.
Pleasure. I like
Hope
to
had a great night.
Shows and drag them out as long as I possibly can. That's what I'm here for.
Hey, we have a good time. And everybody out there, thank you for being here as always. We gotta do it. Anyways, thank everybody out here. As always, have a great night. Please like and subscribe. Join our Patreon if you can. And as always, everybody, you gotta tell your friends, your family, your uncles, your aunts, your cousins, your nephews, your grandmas, your grandpas, your great-grandpas, your great-grandmas, that raccoon, that possum that made love in your backyard in that wagon. Tell them to watch Kruse Control. That chinchilla who pops in and out of your garbage can and he says, hey, what's going on, man? I haven't subscribed. Tell them to fucking subscribe to Kruse Control. Everybody out there, you haven't seen the street in long years and years. You're out there striking with that picket sign. Tell them to watch Kruse Control come on the show because you are a friend of the show. Everybody, have a great night. As always, love you so much. Check us out. We're at, I think, 582 subscribers. Keeps going up. Have a great night, everybody. And as always, see ya.
Wow.